Ready?
Okay, so here we are in the outdoor laboratory for Bluestatesurvival, and we're going to be testing out some fire starters that we got at Home Depot. These are really designed for lighting a charcoal grill, but we're going to see if this works. The scenario is we're out in the wilderness here in the Pacific Northwest.
Even though this is a bucket of water to see if it lights something wet, don't worry, it just rained all day yesterday. These are pretty wet too.
Exactly. So here we have soaking wet tinder, and we've got some other pieces of wood here that it was pouring all day yesterday. So
they're still wet.
Okay, so J-Bone is going to put the fire starter right underneath this tinder.
I have to open it.
No, don't open it. You just set fire to the packet itself.
Really?
Yep.
Cool.
So put the fire starter right under there. J-Bone is going to take a match to the fire starter. And we'll see what happens.
Okay, you hold this real quick. I want to match the tin. And erase it.
Get it right underneath that packet there. Okay, so now it's going.
Match tin. Thank you.
Let's take a look at your match case here, your match holder.
What I have here is the shorter ones with the red tips facing up. Those are waterproof. Those kind of have like a wax seal on them. And these longer ones are strike anywhere matches. And
where do you strike them?
Pretty much anywhere, like a rock surface.
What about the inside of the lid? What about the inside of that lid?
The inside of the lid, it has a little striker right here, as you can see, the one that I just used. That.
Okay, this seems to be going. So part of the secret here is you've got to use tinder that's really, really thin. So even this stuff here might be a little too thick, but it seems to be drying out. I had it sitting in that bucket of water for about 5 minutes, and it was already pretty damp to begin with. Spent a lot of Boy Scout campouts trying to get fires started, and we didn't have anything like this. So we'll do future videos on homemade fire starters.
Which
that's actually looking...
we might do pretty soon after this video is posted.
Yep.
In fact, the two videos might be posted at the exact same time. I'll let that burn that fact. I just take a small twig and start to light it. Let it light.
We want to be careful not to smother the fire.
They got small little twigs from branches around here. Trust me, not too hard to find.
Now, even though I've got, the ground is pretty much soaking wet, it's been pouring rain the last 24 hours, still got this bucket here. If I need to put this thing out fast, I can do it.
And since you're not in the real life us doing it, but I can smell the little kind of chemicals almost of the fire starter.
Yep. Now the fire starter itself has already gone out, so now this is the wood going. We'll see if it keeps going here. So the scenario is if we can't keep this thing going for 10 minutes, we die of hypothermia. So, and actually I was mistaken. You can see, I don't know if you can see that really tall flame, but whatever the chemical is in that fire starter is going up. It's pretty much done now.
And we can even blow on it. That's not against the rules of fire starting.
Nope. Actually, that tinder down there is going pretty good. So one of the tips if you're out in the wilderness and you're making camp, and if it hasn't rained in a few days, grab a bunch of this little tinder here.
That
pine needles.
burn.
It's maybe 2 millimeters thick at the most. There we go. Now we're starting to get a...
And that little moss right there, see that little moss? If you look for sticks like that, it'll crackle, but it will burn.
Yep. So we don't want to throw a big old log on yet at this point. We want to get a decent fire going.
You want to get that, then we have to...
So now you can see the size of the sticks we've been putting on here.
Next
size up is
progressively bigger.
about the size of a small child's finger.
But what I would do is I would wait at least 2 to 3 minutes before you put on the next size so it burns a little bit.
Yep, we're going to let this other stuff get going here. Now, of course, the real challenge is if you can do this while it's pouring rain. That's tough to do.
Then you're a camping genius.
Yeah. And we're not geniuses. We're just a little smarter than the average bear, but definitely not geniuses.
But definitely not average.
Not average either. You got to be a little bit above average intelligence if you're going to survive out in the wilderness.
I mean, we'd be more likely to survive than one of our neighbors.
We definitely do better than a city slicker.
Yeah. Reason is, one, because we found lots of tips and tricks, because my dad was a Boy Scout, I'm a Boy Scout. Well, we also have had many years of experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. So we'll see how much luck we have with this. So now's the point where this is the point where you're going to get tempted to just keep putting fuel on it, and if you do that, you'll end up smothering the fire, and you don't want to do that.
In fact,
especially when it's wet.
if you have mail that you don't want, don't put it all on at once if it's not crumpled up and ripped, because there's not enough kind of bare edges and corners for it to catch. Because
alright, so this little fire, it's starting to go pretty nicely. It's about another minute here. If we wanted to, we could probably start putting on sticks maybe a little bit smaller than the diameter of your thumb.
Actually, I'd say the top one right there is about just a little bit smaller than the diameter of my thumb. So.
You want to go see what you can find around the side of the house?
Sure.
I mean, in our outdoor laboratory here.
AKA backyard.
The backyard, yeah, also known as the backyard.
Oh,
and here's the Bluestatesurvival command post right here. That's where the magic happens right there.
That's the magical warehouse.
Alright, so this is going pretty good. I'm going to shut it off, and if we get it going bigger, we'll start up again.